Hi everyone and welcome to my recent game collecting video from June, July and August 2023. I already meant to make this video about a month ago because June and July were already so full of interesting game releases that I could have made the video from those couple month releases already. But unfortunately I didn't have time to record video back then, so let's include also August releases on same video. So there's over half a dozen games again, plus also one late edition from March that I kind of missed when it was released, but finally got it and wanted to quickly mention it at the end of this video. So yeah, let's start with June releases. First, Street Fighter VI. I haven't played huge amount of fighting games lately. I got Guilty Gear Strive when I got PS5, and that's been pretty much only fighting game that I've played since then. So yeah, was nice to get some variety, because yeah, in general I do like Street Fighter series, but in general I often play new Street Fighter game for a while after release, but then kind of forget about it and never go back to play it more, unlike with Guilty Gear and so on. But yeah, so far I've been enjoying it. Seems like the usual high quality fighting game that you can expect from Street Fighter, with couple new mechanics and handful of new characters and so on. Maybe the series have gotten a little bit too online focused, like pretty much only single player content is the world tour, and that felt like somewhat of a mess to me, especially because you play as these your own created avatars instead of one of the interesting characters of the game's character list, so the world tour felt like non-interesting at all. And Fighting Ground is your basic arcade mode and so on, so yeah, Battle Hub, which is the online mode, is definitely the main focus of the game. And yeah, I suppose that's how it should be, because fighting games are most enjoyable when playing against other players, so yeah, it's understandable, but to some extent I would like a little bit more single player content before I go to online battles. But yeah, so far I've been enjoying it. But yeah, to be honest, I probably, if I want to play more fighting games, I'll probably go back to Guilty Gear Strive instead of that game. But that's just personal preference of different style of fighting games. And next, Final Fantasy XVI. I had somewhat low expectations for this new Final Fantasy game. I only recently played Final Fantasy 15. It was like beginning of this year, after I finished Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. I wanted to play more Final Fantasy and realized I still haven't finished Final Fantasy 15, and 16 is coming out this year, so finally decided to play through 15, and yeah, I have somewhat mixed feelings about that game also, especially the fighting system is so it's so much of a mess, and when I heard 16 is going to be even more closer to this real-time action game, I felt like, am I going to enjoy it at all? But I decided to give it a try, and oh, I'm so happy that I got this game and gave it a chance, because yeah, I've been enjoying it so much. Yeah, as I said, the combat system is this real-time action game, and you don't expect that from like Final Fantasy game, or I guess you would expect that after Final Fantasy 15 kind of going into that direction. But yeah, this is much more polished fighting system compared to Final Fantasy 15, and it almost feels like I would maybe compare it closer to like slow-paced Devil May Cry or something like that. It definitely feels more like hack and slash game than usual Final Fantasy with turn-based combat and so on. So yeah, it was quite happy surprise how much I've been enjoying the combat system alone, because yeah, especially the little details about combat, how you can combo together the different attacks, like after each melee attack you can also use magic attack and then continue your combo with melee attack. It feels so satisfying when you get the timing done with the different attacks. It's so much fun. And yeah, story also, I suppose I can't say much about the story without spoiling anything, so I'll just say that it's much more darker themed than you would expect from cheerful and colorful Final Fantasy game. But yeah, the story is quite interesting, and it hooked me so much that I always were wondering what is going to happen next, and I feel like almost all the, especially towards end of the game, there was a little bit too much of this side content that was way less interesting than the main story, so I was kind of trying to rush through the side content so I could see how the story continues and so on. So yeah, it's very different from Final Fantasy games, and I can see why old fans of the series don't like it at all, but to me it was quite a surprise how much I've been enjoying it, and yeah, definitely give it a chance if you are interested at all, because yeah, it is quite enjoyable. And even though it feels like it's almost not connected at all to Final Fantasy games, there's still some things like, especially the old summons from older Final Fantasy game. They are so huge part in the story that alone makes the game Final Fantasy for me when I see those great summons in the story in such a huge part. And also the game is so visually stunning to see those summons in the battle scenes, and so it is great game, one of the best games this year. Which is funny because I had almost no expectations for that game at all, because of how much I didn't like Final Fantasy 15, and hearing that 16 is going even more to this real-time action game, I wasn't expecting anything good from 16, but yeah, I love that game so much. But next, last June release, the Quintessential Quintuplets Gotopazu story, which I got as this cute Yotsuba set. So yeah, kind of like it is really weird to describe this game, because it is like collection of scenes taken from Gotopazu puzzle game that is made for mobiles, but all the microtransaction mechanics are taken out, so and also all the puzzle game elements are taken out. It is simply the scenes and so on from that mobile game. So it felt like somewhat a weird release, but I'm happy that I got it because it has quite a lot of different scenes and content. I especially was surprised how it includes the entire recap of season 1 of the animated series. So, and I'm pretty sure it includes, like, if not all, at least almost all of the scenes of the first season of the show. It was quite fun to go through the recap and see all the scenes that I haven't seen in such a long time, and also realizing how much I've forgotten already of the first season. But of course that first season recap isn't the main focus. The main focus is like the event scenes that take place during like different holidays like New Year's, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Halloween and such. And you have these like event scenes with all of the characters taking place, and after that you can also unlock these character specific scenes about same events and so on. So yeah, there's a nice amount of content that it made me almost interested in the mobile game also, to see how much more content they have added to the mobile game after these contents. But also it includes like little bit of content that make me worried about how the mobile game works, because for example how you unlock the artwork cards because there's like almost 600 different artwork cards that you unlock through gacha system, and I'm quite worried how that works on the mobile game. Here it is completely fine because you don't need any resources to use the gacha system. You can simply keep unlocking new cards, and it is fine because you don't need to use any resources. Speaking of resources, you do need resources to unlock the new event scenes. You use these kind of daily login bonus keys to unlock new scenes, which is kind of weird because I feel like you should be able to simply watch all the event scenes right from the beginning, and maybe you could unlock those, you could get those keys from watching the event scenes and use those keys to use the gacha system or something like that. It would make more sense to me. But yeah, the key system is quite weird. But fortunately, if you watch the recap of the first season of animated show, you get almost enough keys to unlock all the scenes in the game. You need like maybe about a week of daily login bonuses on top of the keys that you get from the animated series recap. If you don't watch the recap, then you need like about a month worth of logging bonuses, and that seems quite weird choice to me. You should be able to just watch all the scenes right away. But yeah, all in all, it was a nice surprise to me how much content there is, and all the lovely scenes with the characters that you know from the animated series. But yeah, next to July releases, starting with Atelier Marie Remake, which I also got as this huge premium box. So yeah, very first Atelier game, which I had not played before, so it was nice choice for Remake to get. And also because it's not been available in English before, so it's nice for also the Western audience to finally get the game in English. And still I ended up getting the Japanese version, so I can play the game in Japanese. But yeah, I really like Atelier series in general. I believe I started playing the games around PS3 era, so I have missed all these early Atelier games, so it was fun to finally see it. And yeah, I've been enjoying the game. I haven't played huge amount of it, but from what I've seen it's quite nice. It is rather simple and small compared to more modern Atelier games, but I find it quite charming, to be honest. I feel like it's nice change after all these modern Atelier games to go back to see how much more simple things were back then when this game came out originally. Like the city is quite small compared to modern games, and like amount of like places to explore, items to gather and items to create through the synthesis system in Atelier, and pretty much everything. There's quite little amount of content compared to more modern Atelier games, but still it's quite enjoyable. As long as you don't expect like as much content as in more modern Atelier games. And yeah, stories, quite usual Atelier game. You get this, actually there's two different modes. I haven't played the unlimited mode, which completely removes like the time limit systems from the game. I've only played the original style of the game, which is this kind of limit mode where you get this time limit of 5 years to create some powerful item, and depending on what you do during those 5 years changes the ending that you get, and so on. But yeah, I've been enjoying it and it is quite charming. Little Atelier game compared to the more modern Ateliers. Can't wait to finish it and see the different endings and so on. And next, Crymachina. I got as this cute little Hanamaru box. I love the cover. So the game is from same developers as Crystar. They seem to like the cry word a lot, and yeah, these games do make you cry. The story is so sad. So yeah, story of the game, it's about this like post-apocalyptic setting where humanity have gone extinct, and before the end of the world for humanity they launched this spaceship to and had these Deus Ex Machinas in there to kind of with goal to kind of recreate humanity and so on. But of course things don't go as well as planned. One of the Deus Ex Machinas creates your playable characters who are kind of robots that have memories of real people from before the end of the world, and their kind of job is to try to become real humans again and so on. The story kind of starts rather slowly because the game spends quite a bit of time to introduce these characters, so you get to know them and care about them, and after that things start to get kind of twisted and bad things to happen and so on. And at that point the story really hooks you and you want to see how things end and so on. Gameplay, it's somewhat similar to Crystar. It is this real-time action game, and it has the same problem that I had with Crystar, which is the enemies are way too passive. So most of the enemies you can beat before they even attack you and so on. So the gameplay is quite easy because of that passiveness of the enemies, as long as you keep leveling up your character and changing to higher tier equipment and so on. So yeah, but if you don't enjoy the combat, I guess it's a good thing that gameplay segments are rather short, so majority of the game is simply storytelling through dialogue, because of the stages are so short and so on. But if you do enjoy the combat system, you also have these optional dungeons and so on, so there is more to play if you enjoy the combat system. I did play some of the optional stages, but for me it is mostly story game. I enjoy the story, but unfortunately the combat system, even though it's fun because of the cool animations and so on, it feels like it's little too unpolished and so on. But I do enjoy it more than Crystar, the combat system, I mean. Story of these games, I enjoy both games. And next, the August releases, starting with Hyperdimension, Neptune, GameMaker, Revolution, which I got as this Victory limited edition. So yeah, new game in the so long-running Neptune series, and again another spin-off, which I feel like it's kind of funny but also kind of sad. I feel like everyone who enjoys Neptune series already wants to see more mainline games in the series. But yeah, I haven't played huge amount of this. I've only tested the very beginning shortly, and it seems rather similar to Sisters versus Sisters. So especially the combat system is pretty much exactly same, which is a little bit of shame because I wasn't huge fan of the combat system in Sisters versus Sisters, and this feels too much of same. Maybe it's a little better and more fun because, for example, you have more party members during the combat and so on, but still, for the most part, it is same combat system, and it has its problems, but also it has its good things as well, like customizing your combos and so on. And one thing that I already kind of enjoyed about the game with the short introduction to the game was the whole idea of creating this game company, and because it includes this like how should I say it, almost like simulation style game where you build new structures and hire new people and so on. That seemed like that could be fun, as long as it has like interesting elements, like if you unlock new things through it and so on. But yeah, I haven't played enough to say that happens. Handful of new characters in addition of the so many old characters and so on. So yeah, seems fine with the short introduction that I have, but I do wish that they would go back to the turn-based combat of the older Neptune games instead of this new real-time action style for the combat. But yeah, if you enjoyed the combat system of sisters versus sisters, then that might be on your alley. And next, last of these recent games, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. And I always keep praising how From Software is one of my favorite development studios, if not the most dear developer for me these days, because I love their games so much and how they kind of made new genre of games. These Souls-like. I know people hate that term, but I do like it. Some reversible cover here. Maybe I actually like that more than the cover. Probably should change the cover. But yeah, even though I really like From Software's games to the point that I have started to collect their older games from PS1 and also PS2, I've never played any of the Armored Core games, even though I've considered getting at least the first game in the series for PS1 out of curiosity to see how it is. And main reason is that I'm not necessarily like huge mecha fan. I often enjoy stories with mechas as long as the gameplay is fun, but because I'm not the biggest fan of action games either, I've decided not to give even a chance to older Armored Core games, but as a huge From Software fan, of course I needed to give this new Armored Core game a chance when they finally decided to continue the series after so many years of almost nothing but Souls-like games. But when I decided to give this a chance, I was quite happy because I've been enjoying it. Actually, I've already completed one of the different endings that you can get, and I did that all in only like a few days. So clearly I enjoyed the game because I played it so much in such a short time. And I feel like it was perfect timing, because yeah, I do sometimes feel like I want to play some more action heavy game, and this was just perfect for it. Especially because I also enjoy the customization of the different mechas. It's so much fun to try to build new mechas and see how well they work and so on. Especially I enjoyed those arena battles, because there you are fighting against other mechas that use the exact same parts that you can use to make your own mechas. So it gave me so many ideas to see some of those mechas and oh, I want to build something like that and so on. So yeah, I did end up enjoying the game much more than I expected. Maybe I do like mechas after all, even though I thought I wouldn't, because of how much I enjoyed building those mechas and then taking them into action. And yeah, the combat system is also quite fun. You can either play with these really heavy mechas and no worry about dodging the enemy attacks, simply use your aim assist and aim assist to lock your target to the enemy and keep firing, and you will beat the game even if you don't play like with these more skillful agile mechas that you need to dodge the enemy attacks and so on. So yeah, I like how it has like different play styles for the different mechas and so on. So yeah, I wasn't expecting much about the game, but ended up enjoying it much more than I expected. Not sure if I'm going to back to it and get the different endings that I missed on the first playthrough. Maybe someday when I want to play some action game again. And one game that I wanted to mention here at the end, speaking of Souls-like, I don't understand how I missed this game's release. It was released in March, and I remember how on the release day I went to like Twitch and saw so many people streaming this game, and I had not heard even the name of the game before, and I was so confused. What is that game? Why I haven't heard of it? So Wolong Falling Dynasty. So another thing that I was confused about is because it's made by Koei Tecmo, and I do also somewhat follow Koei Tecmo's games because I enjoy so many of them, and on top of that I also enjoy Souls-like games, so it was so confusing to me how I completely missed this game and I had not heard about it before. But yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was quite interested. Not only because it is quite similar to like Neo and The Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, or whatever was the name of that Final Fantasy spin-off Souls-like game. So it has similar combat system to those games, but also some new additions. So gameplay I've been enjoying quite a lot, and also the story and the setting is kind of inspired by Romance of the Three Kingdoms stories, or at least some of the characters are taken from there. If not the story, of course the story is like this fantasy story. It clearly isn't inspired by anything based on reality, but yeah, at least the characters are inspired by those stories and so on. So also the story and setting were quite interesting. But yeah, I'm happy that I finally ended up getting the game, even though I completely missed it back in March when it was originally released. And yeah, of course I have already one September release that I have already made unboxing video of, but I'll talk about this game more in next video like this, when I talk about other September releases. So yeah, quite a lot of games again. I completely lost my track of time, so I have no idea how lengthy video this ended up being, but yeah. So many great games during these summer months. But yeah, thanks for watching and bye!